So in this video we'll discuss about Neecha, bhanga, rajayoga. The word Neecha means debilitation, bhanga means cancellation. So if a debilitated planet gets cancelled, the debilitation gets cancelled, it becomes a rajayoga. So it becomes a very special planet, and it will give the results like enhanced planet. It behaves like say exalted. So now there are numerous rules which applies. Now we'll discuss some of the rules, some 4 or 5 rules. So major rules we'll discuss, and through which we'll know whether the debilitated planet is actually debilitated or it has attained rajayoga status. So this is rule number 1. Suppose we'll take the planet Saturn. It is debilitated in Aries. If the ruler of the house is exalted, then it is a cancellation of debilitation. The ruler of the house is Mars. Suppose the Mars is exalted here, so which means the Saturn is not anymore debilitated. It becomes a Neecha, bhanga, rajayoga. So this is rule number 1. Even if you want to take some other planet, suppose we'll take Jupiter here. Jupiter is debilitated here. Okay. So the ruler of the planet, the ruler of that house is Saturn. If the Saturn is exalted here, then it is a cancellation of debilitation. So that means it will behave like an exalted planet. So this is rule number 1. So now this is rule number 2. We'll take the same planet Saturn, which is in the Aries. Okay, the rule number 2 says if the ruler of the planet is in Kendra Sthana to the Lagna or moon, then it is a debilitation cancellation. Okay, suppose we'll take the Lagna in Pisces. If the ruler of the planet, okay, the debilitated planet is Mars. So if it is sitting here, okay, and we say the moon is here. So in both the ways, from the moon it is in the 4th house. This is a Kendra Sthana, which is a very powerful Kendra Sthana, and from Lagna it is in the 7th house, so which is also a Kendra Sthana. Okay, so if the ruler of the debilitated planet is posited Kendra it has gone Kendra ball from the Lagna or moon, then it is a cancellation of debilitation. So now we have to say that Saturn is no more debilitated. It will behave like an exalted planet. Okay. So now we'll discuss rule number 3. So this is very important and also very confusing rule. So if you listen carefully, you will definitely get it what I'm trying to say. We'll take the same Saturn, okay, which is sitting in the Aries. Okay, so the ruler of the debilitated planet and the same Saturn's exaltation, where it is exalted, the ruler of that house are in Kendra. So now we see with the examples. So the ruler of the Saturn where it is debilitated is Mars. Okay, now the same Saturn is exalted in Libra and the ruler is Venus. Okay, so if both the planets are in Kendra Sthana, suppose we will take Venus is in Virgo and the same Mars in here and the Pisces. So now both are in Kendra Sthana. Okay, so in that way the debilitation gets cancelled. So which means we'll see with another example. Suppose the same Jupiter will take. Okay, the ruler of that how the ruler of the Jupiter where it is debilitated is Saturn. Okay, we'll take Saturn, and where the Jupiter is exalted and the ruler is moon. So now the moon and Saturn, if they're in Kendra Sthana, so we can take Saturn here, and also the moon is here, or we can even take moon. Okay, so which means the moon can be here because it comes to the 10th place, and if the moon is here, it comes to the Kendra like 7th. Even if the moon is here, it comes to the 4th place. So in these ways the debilitation gets cancelled. So we will see the same rule with another example. We'll take Mercury as an example, because Mercury exalted in the same house, in its own house. So now we'll see the Mercury, it is debilitated in Pisces. Okay, so the ruler of the house, which is Jupiter. Okay, and the ruler of the houses, Jupiter, will put it here, and the Jupiter and the Mercury is exalted in its own house here. Okay, so the ruler of the Mercury, where it is exalted, is also Mercury. Okay, so now it becomes very simple. The Jupiter and Mercury should be in Kendra to each other. So which means Mercury is in Pisces, so the Jupiter can be here. Okay, from Jupiter can be here, and also the Jupiter can be here, which becomes a Kendra to each other. So in this way the cancellation happens. So now we'll discuss rule number 3. Suppose we'll take Mars, which is debilitated. So all these examples are based on debilitation. So we'll take Mars, which is a debilitated in Cancer. Okay, so the rule number 3 says, if the Mars, where it is debilitated, it is conjunct with the ruler of the house. So which means the ruler of the house is Moon. So if there is a conjunction of the debilitation planet and the ruler of the house, it is the cancellation of debilitation. So we'll see with another example. Suppose we'll take Jupiter here. Okay, and the ruler of the house where it is debilitated is Saturn. Okay, suppose if the Saturn is in conjunct with Jupiter, okay, or it is been aspected from anywhere, from the three aspects. It is a 7th aspect, and this is a 3rd aspect, and 10th aspect. Okay, from these 3 places, if these aspects, if the ruler of the house aspects the debilitation planet, this is also called cancellation of debilitation. So that's why there is another rule. If both the debilitated planet aspect each other, it becomes cancellation of debilitation, or it acts like an exalted. Suppose you see the Saturn is debilitated here, and it aspects 10th aspect to the Jupiter, which is also debilitated. So that means it becomes a cancellation and becomes a very special, so it acts like an exalted planet. So now we'll discuss a very special rule, which is not Neecha, bhanga, rajayoga, but it is a parivartana rajayoga. So which means the debilitated planet, if it gets parivartana, then it attains rajayoga. So we'll discuss now. It's the same Saturn, which is debilitated in Aries. Okay, and also because Saturn is sitting in the Mars house, and if the Mars gets parivartana, so because Mars is sitting in Saturn's house and Saturn is sitting in Mars house, so this becomes parivartana and also rajayoga, and becomes Neecha, bhanga, rajayoga, because both the planets get its debilitation cancelled. So this is very, very important and also very powerful. So both the planets which are in debilitation will act exalted. So this is the beauty of parivartana rajayoga. Okay, we will take another example. Suppose if the Jupiter is debilitated here, and we will also take another example for the same rule. So now we'll see that the Jupiter is debilitated in Capricorn. Okay, and the Saturn, if it is placed, which is not a debilitation place for Saturn, even though it is sitting in Jupiter's house, so it becomes Saturn, and they both become parivartana. Jupiter is sitting in Saturn's house and Saturn is sitting in Jupiter's house, so the debilitation of the Jupiter gets cancelled. Or even you can say the Saturn, which is sitting in Pisces, so even here the parivartana happens and the debilitation of the Jupiter gets cancelled. Thank you.